Welcome to Alternative Living Chats podcast, season 3. I hope you enjoy the conversations that we are going to be having. And if you fancy joining me and have a conversation about alternative living, please drop me an email or drop me a message by here. You can email alternativelivingchat@gmail.com or maximekbrown@hotmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Let's go to this week's conversation. Hello and welcome back to Alternative Living Chats podcast. And today we've had an amazing conversation with Bodhi, who lives a completely alternative lifestyle. And it's going back in a long, long time ago. And I remember learning about it at school, which is the kibbutz. And it's his style now of the kibbutz. And so they're in small little villages, as he calls them, but they start from scratch, a piece of land, and then they erect small pods or tents or just alternative living way. I had a lovely conversation with him and I hope you enjoy it too. And don't forget, if you fancy coming and having a chat with me about your alternative living style, drop me a message. Thank you. So welcome to the podcast and tell us all about you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Bodhi. I just first want to say I'm in a little pod, a little structure that I built with a friend
Oh,
that we
wow.
built in like 3 days. Like I built this little tiny home that I now live in the desert of Southern California for a couple months.
Amazing.
And I'm so excited about it. And yeah, it kind of brings me into like the quality of my life is like living in an alternative way. Um, it's like designing my life. How do I want to live my life has been a really big topic for me because when I was a kid, I had like these two different worlds. I grew up in the United States,
Yeah.
but I haven't lived there for a long time. And I grew up in this like Western suburban kind of neighborhood that was very like, yeah, it was very normal. I guess it was like normative
Yeah.
for my world. Very like fabricated. Everyone was talking about like, oh, look at my new computer, look at my new car, and that was like what was important for people. And I remember feeling like a lot of grief. I think even as a kid, I didn't understand why everything felt so, I don't want to say fake, but like, yeah, kind of fake.
Yeah.
And then once a year, I would go to this. I grew up in a Jewish summer camp, and I would go for a month. And I would have these amazing bonds. I slept in the same cabin with these other kids. We'd cuddle all the time. We'd sing together. We were outside most of the time. I would cry. And like, I remember talking to my mother when I was young, and I didn't understand why my friends, like in school, I'd known for like 5 or 10 years, and I wasn't very close with them. But then my friends at camp, I lived with for a month, and I was so close with them.
Wow.
And yeah, no, I think that was before I really understood my first like understanding of like an integrated or healthy communal life,
Yeah.
like a whole holistic life, like what a village could look like. And it was just camp.
Yeah.
But as I got older, I moved to Israel, Palestine after like visiting with my camp. And there's a whole movement in Israel called the kibbutz movement, which is basically alternative little
Yeah.
socialist communities. And it was like camp forever, kind of, like everybody was doing their little role and my friends are around and I was like, this is great. So for the next maybe like kind of like since I was 18 onward, it's been like, okay, how do I create my, it's like camp was a month every year.
Yeah.
How do I do 3 months, 6 months, a year, and then just life? How does life become integrated village? And so
Yeah.
a lot of my life since then has been about that. And there's been like different projects that I've been a part of that are like longer versions of that, or festivals, or kind of like a week of that.
That's
So that's been
amazing.
really great.
And so, have you got a group of people that are working with you to build this new lifestyle?
Yeah. So I mean, then a question came like, how do I start a village? Like,
Yeah.
where are the villagers? And it's interesting because in our Western world, it's like, oh, and I need to buy a piece of land that's $200,000, and I don't have that money, or how do I buy a piece of land and then call people that I like, and then what? A lot of communities fail because it's like, wait, now we're in conflict, and I own the land, and do I kick you off if I don't like you? Like
Yeah.
all of these things happen. So a lot of research started going into that, and in that process, I found a little pop-up kind of like a pop-up artist residency called Mars College. That's where I'm living now. And it's like a 3-month version of like Burning Man, which is kind of like a big village.
Yeah.
And yeah, we live here for 3 months and we come to an empty piece of desert and then we build structures
Wow.
together. We build a whole little campus. Um, and then we learn in it together. So there's a big Google Calendar, and I'm just like, oh, I want to teach massage. So I write on the calendar, hour and a half massage class, and people can come to that. And
Brilliant.
then in that process, yeah, I met 5 other people that actually they all live in Sweden, and we're like, hey, what if we did something like Mars College but more communal focused, so we can support the birth of new communities?
Yeah.
So we're calling it Community Lab. So we've committed a year together, the 5 of us, to produce this 2-month kind of like village incubator that's happening at a little eco village in Sweden. And our hope is that groups of people will come together. And so far we have like 4 different camps, and a camp is like your little family,
Yeah.
and you study together. So one camp is like tiny house camp, and they're gonna try to build a tiny house during this 2-month experience.
Amazing.
And yeah, so like each camp will have its own little project, and then we'll make a little village, a village of different camps that are all interested in different things. And that like maybe I don't want to focus on tiny house camp. I love doing massage, but I want to come for 2 days. So I
Yeah.
go over when they're doing a little workshop. So it's like in some ways we're like trying to build a pop-up village to start testing, because the other piece of this is like, okay, it's way easier for me to commit to 2 months than like 20 years of my life. Like, I don't want to get married just yet, but I want to date. I want to date
That's
other
it.
villagers.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do like trial runs. And this is what it is. It's like my own question for myself is, how do I live more of my life like this? But I don't have all the answers of how to do it yet.
Yeah.
A lot, I think too, like a lot of the like indigenous wisdom, or like there has been knowing how to do this, that I don't have maybe access to anymore, because a lot of it's hidden or disappeared because of different reasons.
Yeah. So how do you, well, live basically? I mean, what about your power and your structure within, how do you sort that out?
Yeah, great question. So at Mars, we have solar. We
Yeah.
have a couple people who know how to do solar power, and so we have 25 panels that run refrigerators. And actually, we have so much. I mean, this is amazing because we're in Southern California here. We have so much power here that we can weld on solar
Wow.
power. It's we have 3D printers on solar pad. Which is
Right.
incredible.
That's good.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing. At the eco village that we'll be going to, they also have solar panel that we can run into, that
That's
we can take
brilliant.
from.
That's fantastic. And what about your fresh water and, getting water and things like that?
Great questions. So yeah, and I actually love what you're saying, because these are like really important fundamentals that anyone moving, or any group moving onto a new piece of land, is like, how do we survive?
Yeah.
Like, and for water, yeah, especially if we're in a 2-month kind of container. Fortunately, at Community Lab, there is water there. I believe there's a well there. There's also a big lake and a river. You can literally drink out of the river, which is incredible.
Brilliant.
Like
Yeah.
I've done, yeah, it's amazing. At Mars College, there's a house nearby that we can take from.
That's just,
But that's one of the big first topics
yeah.
of moving onto a piece of land, is like, okay, do we drill a well? Like, where's our water come from? And like, where do we go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Like, the first thing is like, I have to poop now.
Yes. That's it. We've
you
got
know?
that sorted.
Yeah. And so like, wow, I've learned so much in these like really simple and primitive systems.
Hmm.
I lived in an eco village last year where they've been around for 30 years, and they have compost
Compost
toilets,
toilet.
which are like, and I was like, whoa, how do you build a compost toilet? There's like, do you have to turn it all the time? Like there's all these questions that I don't have the specialization for. And I got to see some really simple systems
Yeah.
that were wonderful. As simple as like a Home Depot bucket with a toilet seat. And after a week or 2 weeks, you just dump it out into like a big, like paneled area that you throw sawdust onto,
Yeah.
and leave it for 2 years, and it becomes soil. And I was like, what? It can be that easy?
It's amazing,
So
isn't
that's
it?
been a really good process.
It just shows how simple we can make life, and we make life so complicated these days.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I love that you say it like that too, because I was visiting a friend in New York and I was in his like apartment building and I was in an elevator and I was like, this is like the most advanced technology ever. Like the amount of specialized, like I'll bet you like 10,000 people maximum of our like 7 billion people population have any form of ability to like build this.
Yeah.
Like it's so, I could never do this. And I look around at buildings and I'm like, I could never do any of this. I will never do this. And then I've had this experience of building a little pod for myself in a couple of days with some friends. And I was like, wait, like I could build my own home if it's simple enough.
Yeah.
And there's something there where it's just like, wait, how can I make my life so much simpler that I have the ability to like to actually co-create it instead of needing some insane specialization.
Yeah, you can make it as basic or as complicated as you want, can't you, really? And that's a love the way that, everybody can live so differently, and that's the fantastic part of it. So, with your power sorted and your water sorted, what about cooking? What do you use for your cooking side of things?
Yeah, so like here we have propane, which makes it really easy.
Brilliant.
And we can like run to a town to fill out propane.
Yeah.
I mean, right now how we're living, we do a grocery run once a week. We're like I think like we're 6 people in our camp, but there's other camps here too. It's a similar model. So there's
Uh-huh.
a camp of 20 people, there's a camp of 15 people. Um, yeah, we like compost.
Yeah.
Yeah, we cook on propane. We have a refrigerator. We actually don't like we have a little blender. Um, and we have it's actually amazing. Nowadays there's like whatever. I'm now learning how to set up a solar system, meaning it's like, okay, you need solar panels, you need a charge controller, you need an inverter, and you
That's
need
it.
batteries.
Yeah.
You know, like so I'm like, okay, and I'm starting to learn like, oh, if you get panels like this, you need a different thing for this. And it's like, so I'm starting to touch that and I realize how important like mentorship is in that
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
But I also realized like, wow, there's a way simpler version, which is now there's solar generators. Like EcoFlow is a wonderful
Yeah.
company that it's like, oh, I can just buy this thing and plug a solar panel into it and it's a battery.
It's
I'm like,
amazing.
great, wow, this is amazing. Technology is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so that means that like, oh, we don't have a toaster oven, but that's fine. Like
Yeah.
that's fine for our camp. There's another camp who's more resourceful and better with solar, and they have a washing machine that they're running on solar. So
It is. I mean, obviously I live on a boat, so and we use solar all the time. And I can run everything. When it's typical English country weather, we've got cloud and rain today, so we will start the generator or start the engine just to boost our batteries up. But in the summer, we can run everything off the batteries. It's fantastic.
yeah, and I guess like your engine can power a battery to the
Yeah,
extra supply. Hey,
yeah. So I mean, it's very, very lucky we're able to do that. So, but yeah, so a solar is an amazing invention. They're very, very, very clever
it's
people.
incredible. And it's funny. And I'm curious about you because I know my answer for this, but it's like, oh yeah, and like what happens when you don't have power? Like if you run out of power, then what?
So thank goodness it's never happened. But for us, it's quite simple because we'll start the engine, and so we can get power.
Oh,
And we also carry a generator, so we've always
mm,
got that backup. But we try and we're very, very much more mindful since living on the boat. Very mindful of our water and for our power consumption. So
yeah.
we have chargers. I've got solar chargers, there's small battery packs as well, which so if it's the good weather, we use those all the time. And you just you don't you switch things off. You don't It's like with water consumption. I don't use anywhere near as much as I used to do in the house because I don't have it, and that we have to go and fetch it if we want it. So you just so much more mindful about everything.
I love it. I relate to that so much. Like we're hauling water back and forth.
And that's
And
heavy.
when that's the case, I'm like, I'm using way less water. Like
Yeah,
it's so easy to use so much less.
yeah,
And I realized like, yeah, how easy, like how the systems that were in place from my young life, how easy it was to waste.
yeah,
And now we're setting up systems where it's really hard to waste.
yeah,
Like, for example, like we're doing showers. We have a little, I mean, amazing technology. Again, there's little pump showers that it's like a little pump,
Uh-huh.
and you just put it in the bucket and you charge it, and it's a
Yeah.
USB charge, so it doesn't have to be plugged in. And now I'm like, okay, cool. We have like a little Home Depot bucket, a little whatever 5 gallon bucket, and I fill up half of it. And I'm like, cool. See how this works. I'm like, actually, that was a fine shower. And
Yeah.
coming in with a preset amount, I'm never. There is no option to leave the shower running.
No,
You
no.
know, and it's funny.
Yeah.
Like I'm realizing, wow, I appreciate luxury. I appreciate when luxury exists,
Yeah.
and I don't miss it at all when it's not there.
No, it's
Like
showers is you switch on, switch off, switch on, switch off when you're showering. And it takes me time when I go back to my parents and use the normal shower. I automatically go and switch it off. I'm like, no, I can let it run, and it's because you just get used to it, not having it. Yeah.
I, it's funny. One of my values is caring for our planet, and it's like the way like I think one of the reasons I want to live on a little kibbutz or a little eco village
Mhm.
is like wait, like when I walk around New York City, my values are not displayed.
Yeah.
Like for in a multitude of ways. Like I have more alternative values. There's a community in Portugal called Tamara that I've spent some time on and would like to spend more time on, where they're exploring like free love and sexuality and how that impacts a culture,
Hmm.
which is like really radical for some people. But what's so beautiful is like I can walk around there and see people that I like kissing each other. And I'm like, wow, that'd be so nice to walk in New York City and seeing humans kissing each other like this.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, cool, that's far out. I realize that. But even on a minimum scale, like I'm walking through the city, I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom and I can't do that anywhere unless I pay for a place.
Yeah.
And actually, like, okay, I don't want to change the world. I don't want to change the world. I don't want to come from a place of like saving the world or the world's bad or wrong.
Hmm.
But what I do want is to live a life that feels really, really wonderful for me.
Yeah.
And so how can I find a plot of land that's like big enough and small enough where like we do have public bathrooms, or like,
Yeah.
as simple as that, or like actually I can't leave the faucet running because a value of mine is caring for the earth. So I'm going to set myself up where it's harder to go against my value, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. It does completely. So obviously, you said you're going to go to Sweden and set this up in Sweden. At the moment, you're in the desert doing it, and I presume the
Yes.
land, there's no anybody can go and do that within that because. But what about in Sweden? Where would you do it, and how would you do it in Sweden?
Yeah. So it's happening this summer, right after midsummer in late June. It'll be happening for 2 months. And we found, I mean, ideally, this would be cool to like buy a piece of land as an organization and keep running little
Yeah.
village incubators every year. That would be my like wish. But until then, we found an eco village there that's an aspiring eco village.
Oh,
So it
brilliant.
has buildings on it, but he's longing for new residents. And we're like, great. What if we bring a bunch of people to do a village incubator and then people who love your place could stay for another year? So this is kind of the idea.
Oh, that's going to be exciting.
It's so exciting. So it's an eco village called Solfors, and it's in like kind of the mid of Sweden called Dalarna. And yeah, it's got a river and a lake, and it's got different places to camp, and it has some really, really nice infrastructure buildings, and it has power and water, which it supports.
That's good.
So we'll run it there for 2 months, and we'll set up a little pop-up village in an eco village like this.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then actually people will kind of get a taste too of like, it's like we're simulating coming to an empty piece of land. What's the first step
Yeah.
of like, cool, we're gonna get a bunch of tents, gathering tents, things like this, and we're gonna set up a bunch of couple cute little kitchens and each camp will learn how to gather and live together. And each camp will have different norms and microcultures. Maybe one camp is like, we want to do our own food, like I want to cook, we'll have a communal kitchen, but everyone cooks their own food.
Yeah.
But maybe another camp is like, okay, let's do shifts where I'll cook for the camp this evening, tomorrow afternoon you cook for like. So we're like trying to do test runs of like creating culture. Really, it's like creating intentional culture.
That'll be good.
Um,
And I suppose if it's going to carry on after the 2 months, this one with other people staying, they can actually grow their own produce and things like that. Because that's obviously would be
exactly.
the next step, wouldn't it? Because I mean, at the moment, I suppose when you're doing just a couple of months, yes, you could do
Yeah.
your salad bits, but it's not as easy to carry on, is it?
And that's what's so cool because you're right. Like we're doing like a mini where we're still reliant on like the world around us. And it's
Yeah.
interesting too. I actually spent time at this eco village in Tamara, and they were saying originally they were trying to grow all their own food, and they realized like, wow, that is not realistic for us. That is a huge undertaking to grow food for 170 people.
Yeah.
And so they were like, instead of being completely self-reliant, what does it look like to be uh, regionally reliant? And so I like this idea where it's like, I mean, I love the ambition, but I'm like, okay, how do we get more realistic? So for these 2 months, there's actually farms around. Okay, can we call those farms and instead, or like as little as possible relying on a grocery store, but as much as possible relying on the farms around the area,
Yeah.
and then building a network of support where it's like we can support the farms, they can support us with food, we get fresh food. Like I don't whatever. I specifically don't love the experience of shopping for food in like a weird, I'm like, why am I in this building? Like, where does all this food come from? Like, there's like chicken in a package. Who's this chicken? Whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool to like go to talk to the person that's like, oh yeah, I've lived here for, he's been stewarding this farm for 10 generations or whatever. And to
Yeah.
make those bonds. So yeah, how do we become regionally sustainable? And then also, I love what you said. It's like, yeah, what is the next level? Growing our own food. What is the next level? Okay, how do we need income? How do we make
Yeah.
income together? How do we create sustainability so that, I mean, a lot of communities also fall because of that, that they like each other, but there's not maybe like a bigger vision or mission of contribution to the world. I think that feels really important as well. Like, what's our mission and vision together? What are our
It's
values together?
absolutely amazing. And having all the type of, the similar type of people as well, be able to get involved, and it'll just grow and grow because everybody will have different views and everything like that. And obviously it's working together because that everybody's coming together because they want to live in this way, which is perfect. Um, so what
And it's
barriers
an, oh, cool.
so I was to say, what barriers do you find that you have? Obviously, I know that I understand the land side of things and everything, but are there any major barriers?
Yeah, this is a great question. I mean, it's interesting. Something that we have been exploring in this year as we've been building this project is the recognition of like, I think where a lot of communities fall and where we've struggled is both in like organizing ourselves. So no one's the lead of the project. There's no CEO.
Yeah.
No, like I'm not paying anyone and I can fire people. So how do we organize as peers? So we've explored like sociocracy is a governance model where
Mhm.
like learning how to make decisions together. Okay, what if I have an idea in our group? I'm like, I think we should do this, and someone else is like, oh, I think we should do this. How do we choose? You
Yeah.
know, which in it's like in the United States, there's like democracy. It's like I want to be president. I also want to be president, and so there's this big voting system where 300 million people vote. And it's interesting because in the United States, it's like, okay, only 51% of the people have to be a yes, and someone gets chosen, which is crazy now that I think about it, because I'm like, 49% don't want that.
That's it.
Um, and at the same time, like, whoa, could you imagine if 100% of the people needed to be a yes? No one would ever get chosen for
Nobody ever.
president.
No, no, you
You
would
know,
have one.
and it's interesting because there's a model of decision making called consensus, which is that it's like everyone has to be a yes, and those communities fail because they never make decisions.
Yeah.
100 people saying yes to something never make decisions, and then you get these like really simple small decisions never get passed. So like organization and decision making has been a really good one. So sociocracy has been a big support for that, and like giving us tools to learn how to make decisions together, make proposals, and
Yeah.
then we like vote on proposals.
That's
um,
interesting.
And another one is interpersonal conflict. And so, like, something we do because we live together is every week we have an emotional kind of clearing time where we get to share frustrations
Yeah.
and like resentments. And then we like, we get everything out. And then we take responsibility like, hey, I didn't show up this week. Like, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done this. And then we share gratitude, for example.
That's really good. And so in the pop-ups, do you have a communal area so that you all can get together and eat together or drink together, have a special time and, do different parties and things like that?
Yeah, I love this. Like, so this is it's cool because we're talking about like urban planning or village design. Like, what spaces need to exist? Because when a space doesn't exist, things don't happen.
Hmm.
So like we have like we have like personal infrastructure, which is like my tent or my
Yeah.
little home. We have camp infrastructure, which is like our kitchen, which is like the 11 of us. And then we have like village infrastructure or public infrastructure, which is like, oh, a gathering space or like a sauna or
Hmm.
things like this. So yeah, we have like a big gathering space where people can give workshops. We have multiple of those so that anybody at any time can be like, I want to give a workshop in this. And they just put it on the schedule and there's a place for it. Like how cool would it be in the city? Like right now, if I want to lead a massage training, I train people in Thai massage.
All right.
Jeez, if I have to lead a massage training in a city, I have to find a yoga studio or a retreat center. I have to pay for it in advance. I have to market it and find participants. And if I don't get enough participants, then I don't get to do it, and I have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So we're like, how do we disappear that? And actually, there's just an empty space that anyone who wants to teach yoga or massage or this, that's where it happens. And you just put your name on the schedule. Everybody in the village can see it and then just walk over at 11 o'clock.
That's
Um,
fantastic. It's
which is cool. I also just want to say that, like, that's also possible in a neighborhood, in a suburb.
yeah,
If there was a WhatsApp group where everyone in the neighborhood was a part of, and someone was like, on Fridays, my living room is open.
yeah,
Anybody can, like that can happen,
yes, of course it
which
can.
is cool too.
Yeah,
Which is so cool to think about too. Like, wait, I don't need to. How can I like not pay for things as much and have more in my home gatherings?
yeah,
If there's a Google Calendar for a group of 50 people living in the neighborhood, and you're just like, hey, tonight movie night at my house,
yeah.
and I'm sure some neighborhoods are doing that too.
I would imagine so, yes. And what kind of age group of people join you and things like that? Is it a selection or do you find it's, a set age?
Yeah, it's probably like 20 to 60 is typical.
Hmm.
But interestingly enough, in the future, if we were doing this, I would love to have a conscious parenting camp. And
Yeah,
then like parents with their kids could come. I'm like trying to raise kids in a dyad in two people. I can imagine that would be exhausting. I don't have kids yet, and I'm not going to in with one other person. I'll only do it if I have mutual support around of a village.
yeah,
So like that would be cool if a group of like 8 parenting couples came together with their kids and spent 2 months together.
yeah. Be
Um,
interesting to see how
you
how
know,
they find it and then how they found it and then how they find it after having, a couple of months together. It'd be an interesting to listen to
oh,
their stories. Yeah,
I
because
knew a friend who like she bought a house with her partner, and they invited 2 other couples to come live in their share house with them. So they were like 6 parents and 3 kids. And
good
she was
idea.
like, yeah, right, like pretty not so difficult. And
No.
she said, she's like, look, we had our issues. Everything there's challenges in every model, but I would very happily choose these challenges because I only had to cook once a week. Like, she's like, it was so easy. Like, I hang out with the kids twice a week. I'm responsible for all the kids. And then I only hang out with my kid when I want to.
That sounds
Like,
great.
wow, what a nice dynamic.
Yeah,
Like, and I'm never like, I'm less annoyed with them. And they always have an adult around that they love and trust. I'm like, wow, that's so nice.
it is, especially in this day and age. It is.
Yeah.
So, what's your most positive and best thing about your life? How you live it?
Oh, that's such a nice question, Maxine. Like, and I would actually love to hear from you too about that because that's really nice living on the boat. I think that was positive and best. Wow, it's funny. The thing that just came is like I don't have to sell my soul for money. That's I
Mhm.
think a big part of it. Like I make a lot less money and I spend a lot less money, which means a lot of my time is given to doing the things I love, um, which is like spending time and having good quality conversations, doing activities that I like. I feel inspired. Like this specific design, I love. I have my own little pod, but the second I walk out of my pod, my friend David is right next. Like it's like 10 meters away, and I'm just like, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, hey David, what's going on? And he's like, oh man, I had a really tough night. I'm like, do you want to talk about it? And then we walk over and have breakfast. And we have another friend who opens a cute little bakery where she gives away free bread. I'm like, do you want to walk to the bakery? And we walk to the bakery, and we have good neighbors. I'm like, this is what neighbors are supposed to be like. I just live in a desert and walk over to my little neighbors.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
yeah, I think there's like meaningful connection, meaningful contribution. Like I get
Yeah,
to do the things that I love. And
that's brilliant. And you saying was it 9 people with you at the moment? Was it that? Yeah. So have you been living with these 9 people for quite a while, or is this, have you just built up recently with met up recently with these people?
so we've been like predominantly, let's say like six in our little camp, and then we've been doing 2 month periods of living together for the last year. So we met
Oh,
at Mars College last year, spent
yeah,
3 months together, had a couple of months off, went to Sweden and lived together for 2 months, a couple of months off, came back to Mars for a couple of months like this.
that's good.
But we're like 6 or 7 in a wider group of
Yeah,
70 right now.
that,
So there's lots of other things happening in our little village that we get to participate in.
that's just amazing.
Um,
It's a fantastic way of life. It's very interesting, and do you share? I know you've sent your details over for the website and
Community
everything.
lab. Yes,
So
yes, yes.
I'll put that on obviously in the details. But is there any other social media people can follow you, your story, and where you go to next? How do you share all about it?
Yeah, this is great. I had a podcast for a long time called Under the Bodhi Tree. I haven't been so active in that. So that was like different kind of ideas of alternative living. So that can be, I can send that to you too, but it's Under
Yeah,
the Bodhi Tree on Spotify.
yeah,
Um, communitylab.life is like our kind of group website, and then on .life. If you want to see what we're up to, and if you want to get curious and join the project or apply for a camp like this. And then it's so funny. I was going to give my like personal Instagram, which I can. It's em.bodiment, embodiment. Um, like, man, there's a part of me that hates Instagram. That's like, so I'm not super active on that, but
yeah.
those
But
are some
people
like
can follow
amazing
you
ways
on
to.
the website. That's the best thing. So if they want to get involved or just find out more about it, they can go onto there because I'm sure there'll be lots of people interested. Because it's just so intriguing and it's a lovely way to look and live a different life, especially in this day and age because there's so much going on that's not pleasant. And
Yeah.
I think it's just bringing everything back into small communities like it was many, many moons ago, which is an amazing way of living. And yeah, I can see why you've done it.
There's a really beautiful book that's kind of become my own little Bible, which is called The More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Is Possible by a guy named Charles Eisenstein.
Oh, right. I'll have to look at
And
that.
it's so beautiful. I've cried multiple, and he has these like little chapters of like hope, despair, like, and it's like he's starting to look at like what are the underpinnings of our current model, and it's like time for us to get a new model. How do we do that? Um, and I love the title of this book is just like, oh, I want to cry because he asked this question. He says, look around you. Like, do you think that this is really the most beautiful world our hearts know is possible? Like, and he's like, I think there's a more beautiful world. Um, and it's such an innocent question that's not, there's no criticism in it.
No,
It's just like, like, and I'm just like, yeah, I want way. And for me, like, bring back the village. Like that's part of this, like
yeah,
more beautiful world.
yeah. No, I understand that. I mean, I grew up in villages more than I did towns, and it is a very different life and different countries bring different things as well and you're seeing all that from moving around as well so the different cultures and everything and probably can take the best bits out of each place you go to build into where how you're building your new life in these small areas which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
It's yeah, I just wish you very, very well with it, and I'm definitely going to follow because I would, and I'd love to catch up with you again when you go over to Sweden. That would be amazing just to see how things have progressed and what you've managed to do over there. It'd be really interesting.
Totally, totally, totally. And just for you, I'll send you a little video of. I'll do a little walk through the village,
Oh
and
yes,
I'll send you
please.
an email of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd be
because
intrigued to have a look at it. Oh, I'm just frozen a bit.
okay. Let's. It's like a long one. Um,
That's it. You're back.
um,
You're
but
back.
actually,
Oh, the internet's gone funny.
like it is amazing the amount of infrastructure.
That's it. You're back.
Okay, maybe we're back.
Yeah, it's
It's just amazing. It's amazing what people organize with the same intention. It's amazing what like this has been something that's been like over and over and over again. It's like wow, it is amazing what's possible
yeah.
with a group of 6 or 10 or 12 or 25 people that are all walking in the same direction. I'm like, whoa, yeah,
That's the thing. It's to have same sight and focus. I think it helps tremendously. Yeah,
totally.
yeah. It's. I just want to say a big thank you for coming onto the podcast, and I really enjoyed talking to you. And I just, I'll hope everybody else enjoys listening to the conversation and is intrigued the same way as I have been, and looks into it even further, which will be
Thank you
fantastic.
so much. I love. Thank you for these questions. I felt so rich and so nourishing for me to just like talk about like yeah the life I want to live. So thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome.
I appreciate it.
So thanks ever so much for listening. Don't forget to share the story because the more we get out there, the more people be intrigued and we'll get some new guests. And don't forget, if you fancy joining me, drop me a message.